Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living. This morning I'm going to make a breakfast casserole. It's called an Amish baked casserole and or breakfast casserole. And I saw this on Tip Hero. We tweak it a little bit. We like a little bit more cheese. We like the eggs a little more done. So that's really where this came from. But it's nice to be able to make a breakfast that you can have for pretty much the week. It's going to make it in a 13 by 9 pan, so it's going to be quite a bit, but it is so yummy. Okay, so an ingredient list, I'm going to go through this really quick. There are some things that are a little bit different, and I'll try to point those out as I'm going along. So we'll start out with 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and that'll be used in a few different places. 1 pound of breakfast sausage. I just get a 1 pound thing at our local grocery store. They call for kosher salt. We like sea salt. And that's 1 teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. Half a teaspoon of Cholula hot sauce. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder, which I do not have, I will get. Calls for 2 large russet potatoes. I like these simply potatoes because it's about 4 cups, which is what they call for, which is perfect. About a medium to large onion, about a cup or 2, somewhere in there. This is going to go in with the spinach, so it'll definitely cook down. 10 ounces of baby spinach. So we had the battery die, so if this is a little different, that's why. So then we have the cheeses. We have the sharp cheddar and the Swiss, and they call for 8 ounces of each, and we use a little bit more than that. I've taken and set aside about a cup of each of them, and the rest will go into the casserole. 8 eggs beaten, and a cup and a half of ricotta cheese, and we are off to the races. So I'm going to put about 1.5 teaspoons or so of olive oil in there. Kind of move it around. Then throw the sausage in there. And we'll cook this sausage. It's cooked through. It's not, it's not crunchy or anything, but it's cooked through. So now we're going to take it off of here, put it onto a plate with a paper towel on it, and let it drain. So this particular time, it didn't have really any grease or anything left from the sausage. So I'm going to do the onions, and I'm going to just pretty much use the same pan. And heat these up until they get translucent, just like you always do. And then as soon as they are translucent, we'll take the spinach and throw it in here and steam it down. Okay, so these are pretty nice and translucent. If you haven't already, you might want to start your oven to preheating to 350. I neglected to say that, but now's as good a time as any. Get it started up to 350. So now that these are translucent and look pretty nice, I'm going to take and pour my 10 ounces of spinach in here. Easier just to grab it. So it's going to be amazing. 10 ounces of spinach cooks to almost nothing. And we'll let this get wilted and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now I think that's the last thing that we have to cook before we start assembling this. So, you know, it's amazing how much all of that turns into, you know, this amount of spinach. It's crazy. But we'll get to putting this together and get her in the oven. So the sausage is drained, and I've set aside half a cup of sausage and a cup each of the of the Swiss and the sharp cheddar. Those were already set aside earlier. So now we're going to start building this thing, and we'll start with the simply potatoes because I'm lazy, and that's all there is to it. And so they're perfectly shredded. They're so good. Okay, so put the shredded potatoes in there. I'm gonna add, I don't know, maybe a teaspoon or so of, or a little less probably, of pepper, about the same of salt. This is just sea salt. And the garlic powder. Can't forget the garlic powder. And a teaspoon. I wanted to measure that. I didn't want to get too crazy because I'll put a lot of that in there. All right, and then 2 teaspoons. They actually call for Cholula, which we always have on hand. So 2 teaspoons. Like to measure that too because I'll overdo it. And then we'll take and stir this all up. Kind of get that combined. Wanted to make sure you don't leave any spots that are kind of a darker red because they'll be a little bit warmer than the other places throughout here. All right. Then want to put our 1.5 cups. We use ricotta. They call for cottage cheese, but you want to put that in here now. It's going to basically be all the cheeses, whether it's cottage cheese or ricotta, and get that in there. And this is about 3 cups of Swiss. And this is about 1.5 cups of sharp cheddar. And then we'll want to take and mix these all in. Everything, it's kind of like building on top of itself, right? You want to stir it in. Put more stuff in, stir it in. So now that all that's incorporated, we'll take our spinach onion mix here. Sorry for the noise. Just want to get them all in there, at least most of them. Take our sausage
And again, I took half a cup of this and put it aside for later. And then our 8 beaten eggs. And just kind of roll that around so it gets all over. Now we'll take and stir all of this together. Looks pretty good. Okay, so we have our lightly greased pan. We use the avocado oil in the spray thing, and so that's what we use. You could use olive oil or whatever you want in there to be your grease of choice. Now you just take take this fella and really just pour it all in there. Don't leave any of this goodness in there. Then we level this guy out. Try to get it as level as possible, because if not, it'll try to pull up anything that's, you know, cruising around in there, and you'll get a spot of this or a spot of that. And I usually do the cheddar first. Then I take the sausage, and I do the same. And then I take and finish it off with the Swiss. It kind of just holds it all in together and all that kind of stuff. Now we'll take this right straight from here, right into the 350 oven. It'll bake for 40 to 45 minutes. Be checking it. You want to do it until the center is set up and doesn't have any movement or anything to it.
So whenever you're ready for breakfast, this is a great part of your day. Matter of fact, I'm just saying, this is so good. I just love it. It will feed probably 8 people, or me, Michelle and I for the week, for breakfast anyway. You know, it was right at 45 minutes. We took a knife in the middle and brought it out, and it was pretty much clean. It was all set up in the middle, but 45 minutes, and voila, it's a tasty, tasty treat. So thanks for coming by, Big Valley Living. Don't forget to like, the share, the bell. You know the drill. And don't forget to subscribe. If you found something of value here, don't forget to subscribe. So until we meet again, my friends, see you later, everybody.
Be kind.